My 21 female boyfriend, 21 male, wants to go traveling with his ex for 5 weeks. My boyfriend wants to go to South America for 5 weeks in the summer. For reference, we're from the UK. He hasn't done heaps of solo traveling before, and it's quite a long trip to go on his own, especially somewhere so far away. I have work that I cannot take off, so it's definitely not an option for me to go. None of his mates can afford the trip and are bad traveling partners based on previous experience. The only person who is really suitable to go with him is his ex-girlfriend. Details of the ex. To be honest, they are hardly exes. They fancied each other for 2 years and went on a bunch of trips together. They travel really well together. Nothing happened between them. Nothing happened between them because they were both a bit useless about making a first move, so it never really went further during this time. But they were both interested. Eventually, they started dating, but my boyfriend moved away, so they were long distance for 2 months. Their first kiss was 2 months into their relationship, but they never slept together. And a few days later, they broke up. She broke up with him because her therapist told her it wasn't good for her to be in a long-distance relationship right now. Since their breakup, however, they have remained quite close friends. They've been on a couple trips together since and have kissed a few times since then, but nothing further than a drunk peck from what I gather. They remain super positive friends who text sometimes, never really call, and see each other when they happen to be in the same place. Now, this idea of his 5 weeks traveling has come up, and I feel anxious at the thought of him going with his ex-girlfriend. Really, not a lot happened between them, but I note that they had a very close friendship for a long time and attraction on both sides. I feel as though 5 weeks spent with your ex who you fancied for so long is just a recipe for disaster. We have spoken about this already, and he understands and agrees with many of the points I make. I feel that I can't tell him what to do or what not to do, and I don't want to come across as a controlling girlfriend. The thought of this just makes me feel so anxious, since we've got something really good here.
I got pregnant for a rich kid who begged me to abort the pregnancy. Story time. Whenever a man is begging you to abort a pregnancy, my sister, for your own good, just try. I was naive when I met this guy who comes from a rich home. My friend actually introduced me to him, and at that time he was not really staying in Nigeria. We started dating, and 4 months within it, I got pregnant. I told him about the pregnancy, and he told me immediately that I should abort it. I told my friend and my cousin about it because that was my first time getting pregnant. My friend said he was going to take me to a place where I was going to abort it, but my cousin went ahead to tell my whole family about the pregnancy. Then my family lied to me that if I aborted the pregnancy, I was going to die. This got me really scared, and I told my boyfriend that I cannot abort the pregnancy. My mom took his number and called him, and he came over to my house just to beg me to abort the pregnancy. My mom insisted that I cannot abort the pregnancy because I'm an only child. And this guy came over to our house together with his mom, and they started shouting on me. They really embarrassed us, and at the time, my uncle, who happens to be my mommy's sister's husband, was around. So this man told them that they should come inside so we can have a peaceful conversation. When they entered, this boy that I was dating told his family that I'm a prostitute and I want to tie him down with a pregnancy because I know he's from a rich home and I might not even know who the father of my baby is. And my cousin told my family about my pregnancy out of jealousy. She still went ahead to tell this guy that he should not accept my pregnancy because I already told her that he was not the father. I just wanted to pin the pregnancy on him. Mind you, my cousin also had an abortion recently that I covered up for her and I kept as a secret. This guy blocked me for 7 months, and his mom would always call me every day to curse me, to tell me that I can never marry our son. I think mothers should start preaching to their kids, their sons, to keep their wandering sticks in their pants and stop harassing people's daughters. It takes 2 to make a baby. Anyways, they said that I was not from a rich family, and the boy already has a rich fiance that he's going to get married to. At 7 months, an old family friend saw me pregnant and she was shocked. She asked me who the father was, and I narrated the story to her. She said the guy happens to be one of her husband's friends and she was going to talk to him. When we got there, my boyfriend's father said he was not aware of the whole situation, and this man apologized to me. Anyways, the matter kept going on, caused a lot of issues till I gave birth, and these people gave me 30,000 naira. The child looked so much like him, and he unblocked me, and we started talking again. He started sending money for upkeep, calls us on video call. All of a sudden, his mom said the money he was sending to us was too much. Then the next month, this guy went ahead to send me 10,000 naira. He called me, cursed me on the phone, and he blocked me again. What is his problem? What's this family's problem? He keeps blocking and unblocking me together with his family. When I was pregnant, he was saying he wanted the DNA. After I gave birth, he said he didn't want the DNA anymore. Anyways, this has really affected my mental health, that I get sad every time I think about it. Yeah, after this man finally unblocked me, he started sending me 20k monthly for my daughter's upkeep. Imagine a rich kid sending 20k for his child's upkeep. One day I told him that the money he sends me is very small because my child has now started school and our school fees alone is 60,000 naira. And that is exclusive of provisions and books. Mind you, this man traveled out before I gave birth to my child. And immediately I told him I gave birth, he told me that he did not want the baby and he told me he did not want it from the start. So he blocked me. So then when he got to the US, after a while, he unblocked me until the period of time that his mom said the money he was sending to us was too much. Then that man blocked me till now that we're speaking. All he just used to do was to send allowance. Then my mom texted the dad and told him about the situation. Then the man was like, we shouldn't mind the son. Then this man sent 20k. What if 20k? She family yini. Mind you, this family is a very rich family, but they don't just want to take care of my child. I keep telling him to come and run a DNA if that is the reason why he doesn't want to take care of the child, but he is refusing to do it because everyone keeps telling him that the baby looks like him. So now his father sends money 1 month on, 1 month off, and this is always within the range of 10, 15 or 20,000 naira. None of his family member calls me to check up on the child. I even paid for the photo shoot of my child myself, and this has really affected my mental health and my studies because I'm currently done with school. I lost my dad when I was very young, and I know how hard it was for me to survive until this stage. Now me raising a child on my own together with my mom. My baby is actually growing right now, and every time she asks me about dad, I don't even know what to say to her. They still send their 20,000 naira monthly, which I've already told them to stop sending because it is not enough for anything. Ordinary school fees is 60,000 naira, but his father keeps sending the money without listening to whatever it is I'm saying. Do you think I should block the dad? Because my mom is an SU, and every time she sends that man prayers, why is she sending him prayer? What's she praying for him for? I mean, when I confronted my baby daddy and asked him for my daughter's school fees, he blocked me, and that was February last year. He has blocked me for over a year now, so I really don't know what my mom is keeping contact with that family for. Could it be possible that I am not handling the situation very well? I really need people's advice because I am so tired. And ever since then, relationships have not been favorable for me.
I grew up in a small town. Total population was maybe 2,000. Everyone knew everyone else, or at least knew your family members. It was a safe town with mostly middle-class working families. Nothing major ever happened, and the crime rates were low. I grew up feeling safe and secure. To note, I grew up in the 90s. One summer day, my good friend Jenny and I were out for a bike ride. We were 11 or 12 years old. We were allowed to bike anywhere we wanted as long as we didn't leave our town, and we wore our helmets. There was a new road being constructed in between the two main neighborhoods. The new road was to provide a shorter way of accessing the main road to get to the next town. At the time, the road was still under construction, but was nearly complete. All that was left was paving and painting. Jenny and I decided to bike down the gravel road. At the halfway point, we noticed a man walking. He was early 30s and very handsome. I didn't recognize him, and Jenny didn't either. As we got closer, he broke out in a big smile and said hello. We said hello back as he didn't seem threatening or scary. He asked us if we were having a good summer, and we said yes. He told Jenny and I that he was a photographer from a nearby city and was in town to scout out models for his new postcard company. He said Jenny and I had beautiful features. He said everything in a very flattering way that made us feel special. He said we could be models. So he asked if he could take our pictures. He said that we had this look that he wanted, and the scenery right now is perfect to promote the town. He said he knows he will sell tons of postcards and we could all make money. Jenny and I eagerly agreed. He got us to stand with our hands on our hips and smile big. He took out a disposable camera out of his back pocket and began snapping photos. He took about 10 photos in total from many angles. That's it. Be pissed. I remember feeling a little uneasy, and he said we should probably go because we needed to be home soon. He said he would get in touch with our principal on the first day of school to give us some money from our postcard sales. We foolishly confirmed, and we went to the local elementary school, though it was the only elementary school in town, so it wouldn't be hard to figure out. Neither Jenny or I remember to this day giving him our names. This is an important detail for later. Jenny and I talked about becoming famous on the way home. I told Jenny that I wondered why he didn't have a professional camera. She said that she wondered that too, but we agreed cameras are expensive, so maybe he just didn't have a nice one in case it rained. That evening at supper, I told my parents about my potential newfound fame. They were horrified and got on the phone with Jenny's parents. The two sets of parents called the police and gave statements. Police sort of downplayed it and said it was unusual, but nothing criminal had happened. My parents had a long talk to me about safety, as did Jenny's parents with her. The following spring, Jenny and I were hanging out together, this time a little older and a little wiser, and a lot more cautious. We were walking along a quiet side of the street, just talking about music and TV and shows. A minivan approached us and slowed down. A friendly-looking woman woman asked us if we knew where Smith's Road was. We told her she needed to drive down for less than a minute and it's the first right-hand turn. She said she was having difficulty finding it and would we mind hopping in and showing her?
No.
I instantly told her no. Jenny also declined. Then the woman said it was okay because she knows who we are. She called us both by our first names and said she saw us on a postcard.
No.
Remember, they didn't give him their names. By now, we were both freaked out. We were on a stretch of the road that had no houses. The nearest one was about 100 meters away. And it wasn't common for people to have cell phones back then, so neither Jenny or I had one. The woman continued to ask us to get in her minivan. Jenny, who was normally super chatty, was staring into the vehicle intensely. Her body language was stiff, and I could tell she was scared. Suddenly, and seemingly out of nowhere, Jenny screamed, "Run!" I didn't know what was happening, but I ran and followed Jenny. We ran off the road and through a field and into a yard into another street over. I recognized the yard and the house as belonging to a school teacher. We pounded on her door and she answered. We told her what happened, and then Jenny said something I will never forget. She said she saw the photographer man from last summer crouching down in the very back row of the seats. Police and our parents were called. We gave statements and a vehicle description as well as descriptions of the man and woman. Unfortunately, the police were never able to locate them. Jenny and I never saw them again. We had some serious trust issues with strangers after those encounters, and I had nightmares of being kidnapped into early adulthood. Always make sure to teach your children that strangers are not safe, no matter how nice they are. My situation could have had a much more unfortunate outcome if things had gone even slightly different. Those are two people I sincerely hope to never meet again.
This is how I found out my ex-boyfriend was cheating on me for 3 consecutive years. Buckle up for this one because it's one hell of a ride. There were actually so many little things that he would do that clearly indicated he had something to hide. But when I tell you, this guy was a king gaslighter. And because I was young, naive, and just incredibly stupid, it would work on me. So for example, we're in the car once and I wanted to change the song. So I grabbed his phone and the way my life flashed before my eyes, this hillbilly swerved the car like Vin Diesel, grabbed his phone back and was like, "Why are you grabbing my phone like that?" And I was there like, whoa, did it warrant that kind of reaction just to change a song? Also, anytime he'd come over, off topic, this bronzer is amazing. NARS Cream Bronzer Laguna 4. But yeah, anytime he would come over, he would literally put his phone in his bag, zip that shit up, and leave the bag by the door on the other side of the room. When I tell you, that phone was like a bomb. It was concealed, out of sight, out of mind. And his reason for that was, oh, when I'm with you, I just rather not be on my phone. You know, I just want to like spend time with you. So stupid, but I'm the stupid one for believing that. He would also never post us on his socials. Like, his profile was given very much I'm single, and his reasoning was, oh, that he's private, he likes to keep his relationships private. That's fine, but I don't. Like, I wanted to post a selfie of us on my story, and he was like, no. Like, he literally told me I cannot post that on my story. And when I asked why, his reason was that he doesn't want people asking him questions. Sorry, who are you? Who's going to ask you questions? And questions about what? Are you Kanye West that paparazzi are going to come up to you and be asking, hey, who's that you posted on your story? Hey, do you have a second to answer some questions? Hey, who's that mystery girl? Hey, who's the girl in the story? Hey, you got a girlfriend? Hey, who's that? Like, who do you think you are? That became such a big deal to me. Like, what do you mean you don't want people asking you questions? Oh, so you don't want anyone to know that you have a girlfriend? And I said that. And in came the gaslighting and the manipulation. No, not that. Just questions in general. What questions in general? All of a sudden you're WikiHow. All of a sudden you're Google, you're Alexa. Why does anyone need to be asking you random general knowledge questions? Anyway, so yeah, as I said, that one became a really big deal and I was ready to exit the relationship. But to prove to me that he's got nothing to hide, he posted me on his Snapchat story, his private Snapchat story. And then obviously I called that out and it seemed like he posted me on his main after that. But you know, you can post stories and hide people. But I just never thought of that at the time. I wanted to trust that this was a decent person. So anyway, I tolerated those pathetic excuses for about 2 years, being completely oblivious. And then one night as a joke, I was teasing him about potentially being a cheat. Like, we were literally laughing about it. So I was like, okay then, show me your Twitter DMs. Then he showed me with complete confidence. So then I was still teasing and I was like, oh, okay, you're cool. Show me your Instagram ones then. And the entire atmosphere changed. We were no longer joking. So he got visibly uncomfortable. Then he showed me like this. You ain't nothing. And I'm at a distance and still I could see how he was shaking and sweating, half showing me and then hiding it. Then he puts his phone in his pocket, zips up his pocket and sits there so uncomfortable. And I was like, hang on, show me that properly. Then boom, immediate gaslighting. He started going off. I'm not showing you, you're moving so mad. Is that how you are? Is that how you don't trust me? Blah, blah, blah. You're supposed to just trust me. I'm not showing you, I swear I'm not showing you this phone. Wow. I wasn't even listening to the gaslighting this time. I was just like, that's all well and good. show me that phone. Can you not see how you're moving right now? Look how you're moving. Look how you're moving. You're crazy. If I'm the craziest person on earth, I will hold that with pride. Show me that phone. Like, I was not backing down, but he was also not backing down. Like, he was refusing to show the phone, but swearing up and down that there was absolutely nothing on there and nothing to hide. And his reasoning for refusing to show it is because I should just trust him. That was his words. So then I literally said, it's quite simple. Either you show me what's on that phone or you leave and it's over. And he packed up and left. But then here's the joke of it all. 10 minutes later, he comes back inside like, okay, fine, I'll show you. Oh, really? After going outside and deleting everything. So I looked on the phone anyway, and of course there was nothing there because you bloody deleted it. But he was literally like swearing up and down that he did not delete anything, begging, apologizing for gaslighting, all of that stuff. And swore wholeheartedly that he A, did not delete anything, and B, has not been doing anything of any sort and never would. And then long story short, he used this against me for literally like the next 6 months. Because for me, I just found it too difficult to believe. So of course I kept bringing it up and basically just kept trying to squeeze out the truth, because I was just like, this doesn't add up to me. And then he would basically just act like this is so difficult for him because I just don't believe him and I just don't trust him and it's not fair on him. He even made me apologize for the constant accusations that are not true. So in those 6 months, like, I literally just could not shake it. I did not have any kind of peace. So then one day I decided, you know what, I'm gonna give him a ring and just act like I already know something. So I literally just called it and said, tell me why you lied to me all these years. And there was pure silence. So I was thinking, got you. And I said, so you did lie. And he tried to lie again, but then I just said, look, I've spoken to people and I have screenshots. That was game over. Then he started admitting everything. And he basically said, because he took the lie that far, he had to just continue with it. So yeah, that's literally how I found out. I just acted like I already knew. And then he admitted to it going on for the whole time, gave me a fake ass apology, and then I went about my life. I do think it's really mad though, the extent to which people will emotionally manipulate you and gaslight you just to hide their wrongdoings. Like, you really could have just left.
One time I was visiting one of my friends' hometowns during Halloween time, and we were all trying to decide what like spooky, fun Halloween things we should do, and one person in the group decided that we should all go up to these witch woods in their town. And it was basically these woods where it was rumored that like witches are buried and like witches go there late at night, and when you go through this like hiking trail at the top of this hill is this cemetery where like a bunch of weird stuff happens. Super spooky, immediate yes, we were down. So it was me, my friend, another girl, and this guy. We all pile into this guy's truck and we end up driving like 45 minutes up to these spooky woods. It's pitch black, no one's there. There's only one trail to get in and out, and the trees on the side are literally gray, like in Snow White. Freaky. We end up parking the truck off to the side, walking a little bit. We have to hop this like horse gate in order to get onto the trail where everything is. It's pitch black. We only have a flashlight and a headlamp. So the whole thing's supposed to be spooky, right? We're walking around, we're like hearing noises, we're freaking ourselves out. Like, this is what we came here for, right? Now, mind you, the guy's like the big tough guy. We're freaking out at any little noise. Like, we're seeing eyes in the woods freaking out, and he's like, guys, it's literally animals. It's just animals. But then as we start going down this path, we start to hear these like snapping noises in the woods. And again, we're freaking out, and this guy's like, you guys need to chill out. It's not even fun anymore. There's literally animals in the woods. Like, you're not fun. But then I start to notice that as we're going down this trail, the snapping noises that we're hearing are the same distance away from us. So whatever animal is in the woods is clearly following our path directly behind us. We're all kind of starting to get spooked. He keeps reassuring us it's just animals and we shouldn't be little babies about it. And we finally get to the path to get to this hill where the cemetery is at the top, and you have to go through this like grass field where it's flattened out by people walking on it so much. And as we start to walk through this grass field, we hear boom coming from the woods. Loud echoing boom. And all of us kind of freeze. And the guy, you can kind of see his expression start to change a little bit, like, that was weird. We all kind of look at each other and we're like, okay, well, we're going to keep going. We're almost there, right? All of a sudden, boom, again. We start hurrying up our pace a little bit. We've made it too far, but we recognize this is a little bit weirder than the normal wood trek. And then all of a sudden, boom, 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 in succession. So finally the guy's like, okay, that's not supposed to happen. That's not an animal. We need to get out of here. But of course, by the time this happens, we are standing directly at the bottom of the cemetery hill. So we all kind of look at each other like bad decision makers in a horror movie and decide, let's just run up to the top real quick, see it, run back down. So we do. We literally look at this cemetery for 3 seconds. We're like, ooh, spooky fun. And we take off. Now, in order to get back to where the car was, it was basically one big loop. So we had gone around this way. This is where we were. So we just had like a straight path back. We're not hearing the booms anymore. So we're kind of like walking a little bit quickly, but not with too much haste. And when we get to the path outside of the grass field to get back to the car, we notice there's an abandoned cottage. So we kind of flash our flashlights around. It's spooky. It's cool to see. And I notice out of the corner of my eye, this white face peeking out from behind a tree. It was a blink and you miss it. All you can see is the flashlights, but I just noticed that there was this face that was sitting on the side of the tree by the cottage. Now, again, this is Halloween time, so I was just like, oh, funny. Somebody came to the witch woods and like put up a Jason mask to like scare people, right? And then all of a sudden, the face behind this tree goes and cocks its head. And in that moment, I knew someone is in the woods with us right now. So I take off. I'm like, there's someone in the woods. There's someone in the woods. Jason mask behind the tree. It cocked its head. We gotta go. All of it starts happening super fast. Nobody else seemed to see it but me. The tree was maybe like 100, 200 feet in front of us. So it was close enough for me to not dilly-dally. I start taking off. My friend just follows me on instinct, starts taking off. We are running down this path. The girlfriend and the guy are like laughing at us because they don't believe that I saw anything. They're like, you guys are being scaredy cats. Why are you running? There's nothing in the woods. My friend kind of looks at me and she's like, did you see something? And I was like, I absolutely did. There is somebody in the woods with us right now. This is a dangerous situation. We need to get out. I didn't know if they were alone. I didn't know if they had an accomplice in these woods. And again, these were the spooky woods of the town. So it wasn't out of the realm of possibility that like somebody would come into the woods to try and harm somebody. So we're way ahead of the other two. They're giggling, laughing with us. And my friend and I kind of have a split second where we're like, maybe I imagined it. And then all of a sudden, the other two start screaming, someone in the woods! My friend and I immediately look at each other and we go, it's real! Take off. Fight, flight, fight. We weren't even thinking anymore. We just ran straight toward that horse gate. We slid under James Bond style in order to get to that truck. We finally get to the truck. It's a pin. We can't get into it. We don't have the keys. We just have to stand there in the woods, in the dark, waiting for them to catch up to us so we can get in this car and get out. The other two finally get to the car and they're like fumbling with the keys. We're freaking out. They're telling us that when they were walking slowly and like making fun of the situation, they saw a guy in a mask come out of the woods and start running at them with something in his hand like this. So we finally get in the truck. We're like freaking out, hyperventilating. We end up turning the headlights on and we see the man in the mask walk out of the woods and stand directly in our path. And he just stands there, doesn't move. So again, there's only one way out. So this guy's like trying to 3-point turn, but he's like taking his sweet time. He has absolutely no urgency. And we're like, we need to get out. And then the guy in the mask just kind of slowly starts walking to the car. So we're kind of like, okay, like maybe he doesn't want to kill us. Like maybe he's just like doing something weird. I don't know. And then he starts booking it. Full speed dash toward our truck. We're crying. We're freaking out. We finally turn around. This guy catches up to us, jumps in the truck bed, and starts banging on the back window. We're freaking out. We're crying. And this guy ends up pulling over and goes, I gotta get him out of my truck. You what? He's like, he's gonna mess up my truck. Gotta get him out of my truck. So he ends up getting out of the car. We immediately lock the door. We're like, sorry, dude. Nice to know you, but we're not going down with you. And in the moment we thought we were all about to be murdered in the woods, the guy in the mask takes it off, comes to the front door, offers his hand, and says, hi, I'm this guy's friend. I was hiding in the back of the truck bed for 45 minutes on the drive up here and following you into the woods just to scare you. Welcome to the Witch Woods. You've had your experience.
Am I the astronaut for expecting my daughter to welcome her stepmother and stepbrother on our family vacation? Throwaway, my daughter is an avid Reddit user. I, 48 male, recently lost my wife to cancer a year ago. It was very devastating for me and my daughter, Emily, 17, female. 3 months ago, I remarried to an amazing woman, Jess, 41, female. We've been working together for several years and she helped me out a lot when my wife was in the hospital during treatments. Things have always been tense between me and my daughter, as she has always been a mama's girl. They've been getting more tense since Jess and her son, Eli, 8 male, have moved in 2 months ago. To give background, me and my daughter live in a 2-bed, 2-bath house. When it was just us, my daughter and I each had our own rooms. Now that 2 more people have moved in, Jess and I thought it would be best if her son slept in my daughter's room. Emily originally did not agree with this, but eventually came around when I told her it was either share a room or take the couch. I thought this arrangement was okay because once she turns 18, I'm expecting her to move out on her own. Other than the room situation, Emily has been hostile with Jess and Eli since they moved in. I cannot understand why she could have this resentment towards Jess, who has done nothing but try to be a motherly figure for Emily. Now we are planning a family vacation for me, Emily, Jess, and Eli. Emily and I made the vacation plans together right after her mother passed as a way for us to mourn together. I extended the invite to Jess and Eli after they moved in so we could all feel like a brand new family. We originally booked 2 rooms, one for me and one for Emily so we could have our own privacy in the evenings, but Eli has insisted on his own room so he can feel like a grown-up on his first ever vacation. I told Emily about the new arrangement and told her I could cover the cost of a new room for her, but only half. I can only do half because I am taking Eli to Legoland like he was hoping for this vacation. I am hoping that Jess and Emily will be able to bond while I bond with Eli, and our family will be blended by the time we are back home. Yeah, I expected Emily to be okay with this because she is a lot older than Eli and more mature than him. Instead, she totally freaked out and went off on both me and Jess, saying she feels like not only has her mother been replaced in 8 months, but she's also being replaced by the son I have always wanted. I admit I have always wanted to be a boy dad, but that doesn't mean that I love Emily any less. I think your actions are proving otherwise, sir. I love Emily, and I really do miss her mom, but I feel like I deserve to move on and get on with my life and find happiness. Why doesn't Emily want that for us? So Reddit, am I the astronaut?
Story time on why I left my nurse practitioner program. So a year ago, I quit my job working in the hospital as a nurse to go back to school and do a full-time nurse practitioner program. I honestly didn't realize how intense this program was and how busy I was going to be. So because this was a master's program, you need an 83 to pass a class. So an 82 and below is failing. So if you get an 81, that's failing. An 82, it's failing. And the classes are really, really hard. So it's not like you just have to be dumb to fail. 2 of the professors that were in the program I had asked for advice, and they're like, to be honest with you, drop the full-time and switch to part-time because the full-time is really impossible. I genuinely put my all into that program and I studied so much, but I still didn't meet the 83 requirement for 2 of my classes. And one of them, I don't even want to talk about it because it was right there and I was missing like a point to pass. And after that, I decided that maybe I could do an online program or do something a little less intense if I still wanted to do nurse practitioner. But the truth is, I never really wanted to be a nurse practitioner. I just let everybody get in my head and let people around me get in my head and tell me that it would be better and that I should do it and then I should go back to school and all these things. If you take anything from this video, please know that if you do something because somebody else tells you to do something and not because you genuinely from the bottom of your heart want to do it, you're not going to get good results. You cannot live to please other people and make other people happy. I'm mad at myself honestly for letting people get to my head in the first place because everybody just kind of made it seem like being a nurse is not good enough. And becoming a nurse is one of the hardest things I've ever done, and I'm so proud of that accomplishment, and I genuinely loved my job. But the grass is not always greener because even throughout my clinicals and everything, it just was not the vibe for me. I actually liked being a nurse more than all the paperwork that came with being a nurse practitioner. And that's about to be so for real with you. The older I get, my priorities have just shifted. I don't want to climb the corporate ladder. I don't want to be a boss girl. I don't want to work 40 hours a week. I don't care career-wise to go any further. There are other things that I aspire for. I want to have a family. I'm getting married. I just want to be a mom. Don't want to be a nurse practitioner. And I think that is okay. And I don't know why a lot of people don't want to come forward and just say that and kind of look down upon you for it. There is more to life than just getting another degree. If you can have both, but I don't really care to.
I was homophobic until I realized that I'm actually into my fellow women. Story time. I'm a 20 years old girl and I just realized that I do not have any feelings for men. When I was 14 years old, I opened a Facebook account to meet and talk to lesbians. My main purpose was to preach to them against lesbianism. I was so homophobic that I could not even stand the lesbians in my school back then. I was a boarding school student. But unlike other girls, I never had anything to do with any school mother whatsoever. Then I left boarding school and transferred to a girls and boys school. A few months later, I got a friend request from a lady. I checked her profile and I found out she was a tomboy, a stud. I accepted the request and we got talking. My main purpose of accepting the request was to talk to her and preach against the homosexuality in her. But I found myself waiting for her text all day. I was always wanting to hear her voice every time. This continued to the extent where I could not go a day without talking to her. I didn't think much of it because I thought it was normal. One day she offered to come and visit me in Oka. while she was staying in Delta. She came on the agreed date and she lodged in a hotel. I went over there to have a conversation with her as per my friend is around. That was when I realized that I was so into this girl. We started talking and in the process she kissed me. I couldn't resist her, so we did the do. I don't know what the do is. That was actually my first kiss and my first ever sexual experience. That is the do. Months went by and we were officially dating. In fact, we had sex 3 times before I finally broke up with her because I felt it was wrong. I broke up with her and I ghosted her. After a while, I met a boy who asked me out. I accepted and we've actually been dating for 2 years now. I really used to think that I loved this boy, but I don't. I just care for him as a person. This boy is an only boy and his parents like me so much. In fact, they are planning to come and see my parents. I like my boyfriend, but before I get intimate with him, I have to watch lesbian porn to get wet. Sleeping with him is fun, but it doesn't give me the satisfaction I get when I do it with a girl. A few months ago, I could not hold it anymore, so I hooked up with a girl. I felt guilty, so I stopped hooking up with girls. Last month, I decided to man up and tell my boyfriend that I am into girls. He didn't even act like it's nothing. He still insisted on us being together. Ever since then, I've been ghosting him. In fact, his parents have been calling me to check up on me. Of course, he didn't tell them what I told him, but I really want to be with a woman. I am so confused and I feel sorry for him at the same time because this boy is really obsessed with me. I don't know how to get him off my back because I care about him, but I am fully into girls. So